Hello everyone, welcome to IT Expert System YouTube channel. Today we learn how testing types performed. What is a software testing type? A group of test activities can be aimed at verifying the software system or part of a system based on specific reasons or targets for testing. Testing types are focused on a particular test object such as function testing, non-function testing. This is how software testing flow looks like. Static testing can be performed without executing the code. It can be performed on any work product used in the software development lifecycle. Static techniques are informal review, walkthroughs, technical reviews, inspections. Let us understand all techniques in detail. Informal review. In simple words, a review is a meeting where people analyze the product and recommend changes with the objectives of improving quality. It helps in detecting defects early in the development lifecycle and reduces costs. Reviews not only help to find defects but also understand missing requirements, design defects, non-maintainable code. During the review process, four types of testing are: moderator, performs entry check, follow up on rework, coaching team members, schedule the meeting. Moderator. The moderator is a role usually played by the manager who leads meetings and sets the agenda. Performs entry check, follows up on rework, coaching team members, schedules the meeting. Author. The creator document, under review, plays the role of author, who reads the document and invites comments. Takes responsibility for fixing the defect found and improves the quality of the document. Scribe. The meeting participant playing the role of scribe, also known as the recorder, will note down these defects or suggestions. It does the logging of the defect during a review and attends the review meeting. Reviewer. The task of the reviewer is to communicate any defect in the work product, check material for defects and inspects. Possibility to share the ticket via social networking sites like Facebook, Orkut, and so on. Manager. Decide on the execution of reviews and ensures the review process objectives are met. Walkthroughs are led by the author. Technical review is led by a trained moderator with no management participation. Inspection is led by a trained moderator and uses entry and exit criteria. Static testing summary. Static testing is to find defects as early as possible. Static testing is not a substitute for dynamic testing, both find different types of defects. Reviews are an effective technique for static testing. Reviews not only help to find defects but also understand missing requirements, design defects, non-maintainable code. This is all about static testing. Let us see if another part of testing is dynamic testing. Dynamic testing. Dynamic testing is a software testing method used to test the dynamic behavior of software code. The main purpose of dynamic testing is to test software behavior with dynamic variables or variables which are not constant and finding weak areas in the software runtime environments. Dynamic testing types are black box testing, white box testing. Let us understand dynamic testing types in detail. Black box testing. Black box testing performed by the QA team of a company. Black box testing is a testing technique that involves the checking of the application functionality without having any technical knowledge of the application, like the knowledge of the code logic, how the code works, knowledge of the internal structure, etc. The black box testing is again classified into two types. They are functional testing, non-functional testing. Let's see functional testing first. Functional testing. Functional testing involves the testing of the functional aspects of a software application. When you are performing functional tests, you must test every functionality. You need to see whether you are getting the desired results or not. There are several types of functional testing, such as unit testing, integration testing, system testing, regression testing, user acceptance. Unit testing. Unit testing is also known as component testing. Testing each component or module of your software project is known as unit testing. To perform this kind of testing, knowledge of programming is necessary. So only programmers do this kind of test, not testers. You have to do a great deal of unit testing, as you should test every unit of code in your project. Component testing may be done in isolation from the rest of the system depending on the context of the system. Two components replace the missing software as stubs, drivers. Stub. A skeletal or special purpose implementation of a software component, used to develop or test a component, that calls or is otherwise dependent on it. It replaces a called component. Drivers. A software component or test tool that replaces a component that takes care of the control and/or the calling of a component or system. Integration testing. Integration testing performed to expose defects in the interfaces and the interactions between integrated components or systems. Integration testing is typically based on software and system design, both high-level to a low-level, the system architecture, and the workflows or use cases by which stakeholders will employ the system. Some good tools for unit and integration testing are Jasmine, Mocha, etc. Integration testing partly depends on system architecture. Top-down. Testing takes place from top to bottom, following the control flow or architectural structure. Example: starting the GUI or main menu. Bottom-up. Testing takes place from the bottom of the control flow upwards. Functional incremental. Integration and testing take place basis of the functions or functionality, as documented in the functional specification. System testing. System testing is concerned with the behavior of the whole system or product as defined by the scope of the development project or product. System testing is very important because it verifies that the application meets the technical, functional, and business requirements that were set by the stakeholder. For example, the complete product may include features like leave application, reports, employee details, performance tracker, etc. Regression testing. Whenever developers change or modify the functionality feature, there is a huge possibility that these updates may cause unexpected behaviors. Regression testing is performed to make sure that a change or addition has not broken any of the existing functionality. Let us understand it by continuing our example of the leave management system. Let us assume that developers have built a new feature that shows the report of the employee leave history. Now, testers need to test this new feature by performing smoke testing with new test cases. Now, testers need to perform regression testing with new feature leave reports to ensure that the code carried over from the old leave application behaves correctly. Here, the main principle is reusing tests derived from the old feature. The test case for the new feature would be a subset of the old feature. User acceptance testing. User acceptance testing. What is the last phase of the software testing process? In what actual software/app users test the software to make sure it can handle required tasks in real-world scenarios. Generally, it is performed at the time of product delivery to stakeholders as a final checkpoint among all functional testing types. The users are naive about how the application works. They are focused on how the application should behave. They use the application with a fresh mind and whether it is intuitive to follow or not. What is based on user stories and establishes how well it meets their requirements. This is all about functional testing. Now we will see how non-functional testing used. Non-functional testing. Non-functional testing is a testing technique that does not focus on functional aspects and mainly concentrates on the non-functional attributes of the system such as memory leaks, performance, or robustness of the system. Non-functional testing is performed at all test levels. There are many non-functional testing techniques, out of which the most important are load testing, stress testing, configuration testing, volume testing, usability testing, security testing, scalability testing, failover testing, maintainability testing. Let us understand all in detail. Load testing. Load tests are a way of stimulating demand on a software application and measuring the result. These tests are performed under expected demand and in overload conditions spike testing. To run these tests, the use of testing tools that simulate the load is required. Load tests help identify the maximum operational capacity of an application, as well as in identifying bottlenecks and the causes of possible performance degradation. When the test load rises above the expected parameters, these tests are known as stress tests. Stress testing. They are load tests that are carried out with demands greater than the operational capacity, often until they reach the breaking point. This type of software test is used to determine the stability of a system or application, with special attention to availability and error handling when faced with overload. With stress tests, you can identify breakpoints, limits for safe use of the application, confirm design specifications, identify ways in which the system fails, among other aspects. Configuration testing. Instead of testing the performance of an application from a load perspective, configuration tests are used to validate what performance effects certain configuration changes have on the application. An example is to verify if the system can function properly in different versions or configurations of hardware and software environments, such as various internet browsers, browser versions, among others. Volume testing. The volume tests consist of validating the operation of the application with certain volumes of data. The test subject is not limited to databases, it can also be used, for example, to measure the performance of an interface when the interface file, a text file, XML, etc. exceeds a certain size. The objective is to see if given certain volumes of data the application works normally, what are the maximum limits of data volumes for the operation, identify fault conditions. Usability testing. In usability tests, software testers focus on validating how easy an application is to use. Features evaluated in usability include ease of learning. How easy it is for users to perform basic functions the first time they use the application. Efficiency. How quickly experienced users can perform their tasks. Memorization. How easy to memorize the use of the application, that is, when a user spends a lot of time without using the application, he can remember enough to use it effectively next time, or he or she has to start learning again. Errors. How many errors are attributable to the design the user commits, how severe they are and how easy it is to recover from them. Satisfaction. How much the user likes, or dislikes, the system. Security testing. It consists of testing the security attributes or characteristics of the system. Whether it is a secure system or not. If it can be violated. If there is access control through user accounts. If these accesses can be violated. The security tests also serve to validate whether the software development team has followed recommended security practices in its programming. Among the security features of a system are confidentiality, integrity, authentication, authorization, and availability. Scalability testing. The scalability tests consist of verifying the ability of an application to scale any of its non-functional characteristics, such as the load it supports, number of transactions, data volumes, among others. Failover testing. Recovery tests are performed to verify how fast and how well an application recovers after experiencing hardware or software failure. Maintainability testing. Basically, it evaluates how easy it is to perform the maintenance of a system or application. This means how easy it is to analyze, change and test these changes. To perform this test, the way in which the application is implemented must be evaluated, following good software engineering practices. Non-functional testing is a must and extremely important to ensure the quality of the software or application. To conclude, quality assurance is not complete without performing non-functional tests. Black box testing summary. The focus of black box testing is on the validation of your functional requirements. Black box testing gives abstraction from code and focuses on testing effort on the software system behavior. Black box testing facilitates testing communication amongst modules. White box testing. White box testing is also known as structure-based testing. White box testing is a software testing method in which the internal structure design is known to the tester. The main aim of white box testing is to check on how the system is performing based on the code. It is mainly performed by the developers or white box testers who have knowledge of programming. What do you verify in white box testing? White box testing involves the testing of the software code for the following: internal security holes, broken or poorly structured paths in the coding processes, the flow of specific inputs through the code, expected output, the functionality of conditional loops, testing of each statement, object, and function on an individual basis. The testing can be done at system, integration, and unit levels of software development. One of the basic goals of white box testing is to verify a working flow for an application. It involves testing a series of predefined inputs against expected or desired outputs so that when a specific input does not result in the expected output, you have encountered a bug. White box testing techniques. Following are important white box testing techniques: statement coverage, decision coverage, branch coverage, condition coverage, path coverage, control flow testing, data flow testing. Let us understand all techniques in detail. Statement coverage. The percentage of executable statements that have been exercised by a test suite. Statement coverage is calculated by statement coverage equals to number of statements exercised divided by the total number of statements multiplied by 100%. This technique requires every possible statement in the code to be tested at least once during the testing process of software engineering. Decision coverage. A decision is an if statement, a loop control statement, or a case statement, where there are two or more possible exits or outcomes from the statement. Decision coverage is calculated by decision coverage equals to number of decision outcomes exercised divided by the total number of decision outcomes multiplied by 100%. Branch coverage. The percentage of branches that have been exercised by a test suite. 100% branch coverage implies both 100% decision coverage and 100% statement coverage. Condition coverage. Condition coverage or expression coverage is a testing method used to test and evaluate the variables or sub-expressions in the conditional statement. The goal of condition coverage is to check individual outcomes for each logical condition. For example, if an expression has Boolean operations like AND, or XOR, which indicates total possibilities. Path coverage. Path coverage refers to designing test cases such that all linearly independent paths in the program are executed at least once. A linearly independent path can be defined in terms of what is called a control flow graph of an application. Control flow testing. Control flow testing techniques are based on judiciously selecting a set of test paths through the program. The set of paths chosen is used to achieve a certain measure of testing thoroughness. Control flow graph is formed from the node, edge, decision node, junction node to specify all possible execution paths. Data flow testing. Data flow testing is a specific strategy of software testing that focuses on data variables and their values. It makes use of the control flow graph. It is done to cover the path testing and branch testing gap. The process is conducted to detect the bugs because of the incorrect usage of data variables or data values. This is all about white box testing. White box testing summary. White box testing can be quite complex. The complexity involved has a lot to do with the application being tested. A small application that performs a single simple operation could be white box tested in few minutes, while larger programming applications take days, weeks and even longer to fully test. White box testing in software testing should be done on a software application as it is being developed after it is written and again after each modification. Gray box testing. Gray box testing is a software testing method, which is a combination of both white box testing and black box testing method. In white box testing, internal structure, code, is known. In black box testing, internal structure, code, is unknown. In gray box testing, internal structure, code, is partially known. Why gray box testing? Gray box testing is performed for the following reason. It provides combined benefits of both black box testing and white box testing. It combines the input of developers as well as testers and improves overall product quality. It reduces the overhead of the long process of testing functional and non-functional types. It gives enough free time for a developer to fix defects. Testing is done from the user's point of view rather than a designer's point of view. Gray box testing techniques. Techniques used for gray box testing are: matrix testing. This testing technique involves defining all the variables that exist in their programs. Regression testing. To check whether the change in the previous version has regressed other aspects of the program in the new version. Orthogonal array testing or OAT. It provides maximum code coverage with minimum test cases. Pattern testing. This testing is performed on the historical data of the previous system defects. Gray box testing summary. The overall cost of system defects can be reduced and prevented from passing further with gray box testing. Gray box testing is suited more for GUI, functional testing, security assessment, web applications, web services, etc. Techniques used for gray box testing. Matrix testing. Regression testing. OAT or orthogonal array testing. Pattern testing. That is all about software testing types. Thank you for watching this video. We provide hands-on computer training with labs/homework/group projects, prepare you for the certification, provide real projects, internship opportunities, support you in Resume/LinkedIn, staffing support, provide tech references, in-person, online class retake options, and many more. Call us at 847-350-9034 for your free career consultation meeting. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our video to get the notification of our latest video.